Class, our topic for today is another very exciting topic in audit. Audit sampling. Audit sampling is under PSA 530. Okay, audit sampling. Now, for this topic, marami tayong may encounter na technical terms, no? Maraming bagong terms today. So please be attentive sa discussion natin. Okay. Now, recall muna natin class yung audit risk formula natin. Audit risk is equal to inherent risk times control risk times detection risk. And we know na yung acceptable level of detection risk natin will depend on the assessed level of inherent risk and control risk. Tama? And this will also affect the nature, timing, and extent of our substantive audit procedure. So alam nyo na yan. And let's say class yung acceptable level of detection risk natin is low. So yung nature natin will be more effective procedures. Yung timing natin class, we will perform the procedures at year end. And then yung extent natin, we will use larger sample size. Okay, so yung focus natin, since the topic natin is audit sampling, dito tayo sa extent. Okay, so sample size. Now, when you say larger sample size, so mas maraming samples, ibig sabihin class, mas marami tayong itetest. It means, mas marami tayong substantive testing procedures. Okay, it also means na mas marami tayong evidence na i-gather. Does that make sense? Okay, so yun yung implication of the extent. Taas yung sample size, madaming procedures, maraming evidence. Okay, let's go back to PSA 530. As defined here in this PSA 530, audit sampling is applying audit procedures to less than 100% of the items in the population. Okay, so ito class yung definition of audit sampling under PSA 530. May mga terms tayong gagamitin na actually, na-encounter nyo ito sa statistics in your undergrad. Meron ba kayong statistics subject sa undergrad? So hopefully, naalala nyo kahit yung mga terms lang, okay? Now, audit sampling, tingnan natin yung mga keywords, applying audit procedures to less than 100% of the items in the population. Pag sinabi mo population, okay, it means class, iyan yung 100% of the transactions. Lahat, population yun. If less than 100% or percentage lang ng population, ang tawag natin doon is sample. Okay, we have the population, 100%, less than 100%, sample. Okay, now, as you notice here, ang ginamit na term, audit procedures. So, ibig sabihin class, we use audit sampling both for test of controls and substantive testing. So, remember that. Yung audit sampling, applicable siya both sa TOC and substantive testing. Alright? To less than 100% of the items in the population. Okay, let's have an example. For example, class, yung client natin is Metrobank. Ayan. Metrobank, let's say, Quezon City branch. Okay, somewhere in QC. Okay? So let's say si Metrobank na yan, to simplify, no? Meron siyang 1,000 deposits. Okay? 1,000 deposits per day. 100 na lang, masyado pa marami 1,000. 100 deposits per day. Okay? Let's say nag-ooperate si Metrobank Quezon City branch ng 300 days per year. Okay? So times 300, ilan yan? 3,000, 30,000. Okay? 30,000 deposits per year. Ang tawag natin dyan, class, ito yung population. Okay? Now, in practice, imagine class, no? Pag in-audit mo yung branch na yan, 30,000 na deposit sa buong taon. It's very impractical na i-test mo isa-isa yung deposit. Buong 30,000 kasi kailangan pa matatapos dyan. Okay? So, it's very impractical, it's very inefficient. Kaya class, in practice, ina-apply natin yung audit sampling. Percentage lang yan, yung audit natin. So, let's say 10%. Okay? Titest lang natin dyan is 3,000 transactions. So, 3,000 deposits. Ang tawag natin dyan, this is your sample. Okay? Sa population, and this is the sample. So, again, in practice, we only test the samples. Okay? Yan din yung very reason why we cannot provide absolute assurance in audit. Okay? Kasi hindi naman natin test lahat. Meron tayong 27,000 transactions dito na hindi test. Therefore, reasonable assurance lang yung pwede natin ibigay sa conclusion natin in audit. Okay? Now, sir, meron bang instances wherein pwede natin i-test 100% of the transactions? Yes. Especially if si client natin, nagbebenta siya ng high-valued items. Okay? Few transactions na high-valued. For example, si client natin class, nagbebenta siya ng Rolex watches. Okay? Let's say, meron siyang branch sa Makati, sa Greenbelt, nagbebenta ng Rolex watches. Well, i-expect natin na hindi sobrang dami nabebenta niyan per year kasi luxury item yan eh. Okay? In that case, since few transactions lang and high-valued, okay lang, kayang-kaya natin i-test 100% of the transactions. Okay? Yun yung one instance, pwede natin i-test lahat ng transactions. And other instances na, if practical na i-test lahat, pwede natin i-test yan. But, in general, we only test portion of the population, we call it the sample. Okay, now, in audit sampling, we have two approaches. So, write this down. Okay, approaches to audit sampling. Meron tayong tinatawag na statistical sampling and we have non-statistical sampling. Sir, ano difference yan? Pag statistical sampling, okay, ito yung mga characteristics ng class. Merong random selection, okay, we use probabilities, and it has a mathematical or measurable results. Okay, ulitin ko, pag statistical, ito yung characteristics niya, tatlo. Random selection, okay, random. Okay, merong probabilities, and mathematical results. Okay? So, ibig sabihin class, pag statistical is very objective. Okay? Objective yung magiging sampling natin. On the other hand, pag non-statistical, ito naman yung characteristics niya. Subjective and purely based on professional judgment. Okay? So, when I say statistical, objective yan. When I say non-statistical, subjective naman. So, in practice, ang ginagamit natin is statistical sampling. So, dyan tayo mag-focus today. Statistical sampling. Now, ito important class, no? We have two types of statistical sampling. Okay? Number one is attributes sampling. And number two, we have variables sampling. Okay. Di ba class, sabi ko dito, yung audit sampling, applicable siya sa TOC and substantive testing. Tama? When you say attribute sampling, ang gusto nating i-test dito class, okay, is the rate of deviations or occurrence, okay? Rate of deviation. So, saan siya mas applicable? Deviations from internal controls, okay? Ibig sabihin, pag attribute sampling, applicable siya sa TOC or test of controls. Got it? Pag variable sampling naman class, on the other hand, okay, we test the numerical quantity or amounts, okay? And we know, if sa TOC, ang concern natin is the internal controls, okay? Dito naman sa pag numerical measurement, applicable naman siya sa substantive testing, okay? So in short, attribute sampling, yan yung ginagamit natin for TOC, variable sampling for substantive testing. Take note of that, okay? Let's have an example. Let's say class si Metrobank pa rin, no? Si Metrobank. And then, so kontihan natin yung transactions, masyado marami yung 30,000. Let's say class, merong total of 1,000 deposits, okay, si Metrobank for the whole year. Yan, para mas simple. Quezon City branch. Ang tawag natin sa 1,000 deposits na yun yung population kasi yun yung total. Tama? Ngayon class, syempre, sample ang pipili, ang titest natin. Let's say, 100 yung ititest natin. Ito yung sample. Okay? Now, di ba, TOC yan or attribute sampling. Ang gusto natin malaman yung attributes. Okay? Ibig sabihin, sa TOC, alam natin class, titingnan natin yung effectiveness of internal controls. Ano ba yung internal control para sa deposit? Well, titingnan natin dyan yung signatures. Okay? So let's say, ang policy ni Metrobank is, okay, pag yung deposit is less than 5K, signature ni teller, okay na yan. Pag naman yung deposit is between 5K to 10K, dapat merong signature ni branch supervisor. For example lang. And then let's say yung deposit is more than 10,000, dapat meron siyang signature ni manager. Okay? So yun titingnan natin class, yung signatures of the teller, supervisor, and manager. Bakit? Kasi yung signature, nagsisignify siya na merong proper authorization and review. Okay? From teller, supervisor, and manager. Tawag na sa signatures na yan, yun yung attributes. Okay? Now, yan yung application ng attribute sampling. Okay? Next, pag substantive testing naman. So let's say class, si Metrobank meron siyang 800 na withdrawals naman, okay, for the whole year. Okay? And then, syempre, portion lang yung i-test natin. Let's say 80. Okay, yung sample size natin. 80 transactions, i-test natin. Now, pag withdrawals, if maalala nyo class, yung entry dapat dyan ni Metrobank is nag-withdraw, di ba? So, nabawasan yung cash ng bangko. Debit, deposit, liabilities, credit, cash. Let's say, yung 800 withdrawals na ang total nito is 10 million. And then, yung tinest natin, ang total is 2 million. Okay? So, iti-test natin. Dapat yung entry ni Metrobank sa total, sa 80 samples na yan, debit, deposit, liabilities, credit, cash, 2 million. So again, pag substantive testing, tinetest natin yung amounts. Pag TOC, tinetest natin yung internal control, in this case, yung signatures. Okay, basically, yun yung authorization or review or independent verification. Okay, so ayan siya. Now, since we only test the samples and not the entire population, meron tayong concept of sampling risk. Okay, sampling risk. Sir, what do you mean by sampling risk? Okay, it is a risk that the results from the sample might be different from the results if we test the whole population. Okay, bigyan natin ng example. So dito muna tayo sa TOC. Tinest natin yung 100 na deposit slips. Uy, lahat may pirma. O kaya properly signed. na-follow yung policy. Okay? Kaya lang class, yung 900, hindi natin na-test. Tama ba? Kasi 100 out of 1,000 lang yung tinest natin. Yung 900, hindi natin na-test. If i-test natin yung 900, may mga deposit slip pala doon na kulang yung signatures or mali yung signatures. Okay, yun yung ibig sabihin ng sampling risk. Na yung results ng sample natin might be different if we test the whole population. Or yun yung possibility na yung conclusion natin magkaiba kapag sample versus the population. Yes, yun yung concept of sampling risk. Now, in audit, parang sa audit risk, no? Ang goal natin is to reduce audit risk to an acceptable level. Dito, ganun din. We want to reduce sampling risk to an acceptable level. Gusto natin, yung results ng sample, dapat consistent siya sa results ng population. Okay? Kasi in practice, ang tinetest natin sample, hindi talaga natin tinetest yung whole population. Got it? Now, para mas maintindihan pa natin yung sampling risk, discuss natin yung two types of sampling risk. Okay? So write this down, medyo technical, no? Maraming bagong terms today. Number one is, we call this alpha risk, or type 1 error. And number 2, we have the beta risk or type 2 error. Okay, sulat nyo muna ha. And then, as we know, na yung audit sampling applies to TOC and substantive testing. Ihiwalay natin yan. So, lagyan natin dito TOC. Okay. And we have here substantive testing. And then, lalagay ko dito class, meron tayong another column for ano yung masasacrifice natin because of that sampling risk. Okay, dito muna tayo. Focus muna tayo sa TOC. Sulat ko muna class ha. And then explain ko later. Alpha risk or type 1 error for TOC is the risk of assessing control risk too high. Okay, too high. Beta risk naman for TOC is the risk of assessing control risk too low. Okay? Sir, ano ibig sabihin yan? Okay, ganito yung class. Balik tayo dito. Uy, tinest natin yung 100 items. Okay? Na sample. Dito muna tayo class ha. Mas madali i-explain itong beta risk. Okay. Uy, tinest natin yung 100 deposit slips. Oh, tama lahat ng signatures. Okay? Na-follow yung policy. So, complete signatures, walang problema. So, ang naging conclusion natin is, dito muna tayo ha. Sa sample, yung control risk natin is low. Ayan. Okay, baba yung control risk natin kasi na-follow eh. Tama? Pero if i-test pala natin yung buong population, if i-test natin yung 900 pa, okay, kasi 100 lang yan. If i-test natin yung 900, pag tinest pala natin yung population, yung control risk natin dapat mataas. Ang tawag natin dyan, risk of assessing control risk too low, masyadong mababa. Okay, yung dapat na assessment natin mataas, pero since sample lang yung tinest natin, mababa yung conclusion natin. Okay, tawag mo dyan, beta risk or type 2 error. Yung opposite naman yan, if i-test natin yung sample, okay, ang conclusion natin is mataas yung control risk. For example, yung 100 na yan, uy, may mga out of 100, may nakita tayo na deposit slips na mali yung signatures. Okay? Pero if i-test pala natin yung 900 pa, lahat pa ng 900 na yun, properly signed. Okay? Maayos pala yung controls. So yun naman yung alpha risk or risk of assessing control risk too high. If i-test mo yung population, dapat mababa lang pala yung control risk. Guess mo yung difference? Okay. Dito naman tayo sa substantive testing. Okay. Alpha risk, ang tawag natin yan, sulat ko muna, is risk of incorrect rejection. And then yung beta risk naman for substantive testing, ang tawag natin dito class, risk of incorrect acceptance. Ayan. Risk of incorrect rejection and risk of incorrect acceptance. Sir, ano naman yung ibig sabihin yan? Okay, so dito tayo class, sa alpha risk muna tayo. If i-test natin yung sample, dito, yung withdrawals natin, okay, so tinest natin yung 80. Ayan. So tinest natin yung 80, uy, parang misstated yung deposit liabilities. May nakita tayong misstatement. Okay, so dapat, ang nakalagay 2 million, pero dapat pala 1.5 million. For example lang. Okay, so may misstatement. Ang tawag natin doon is risk of incorrect rejection. Ang conclusion natin, deposit liability is misstated. Okay, pero pag tinest pala natin class, yung buong 800, okay, immaterial pala yung difference. Ibig sabihin, acceptable pala. Okay, correct pala yung balance ng deposit liability. So pag tinest mo yung population, deposit liability is correct. Ayun, ang tawag natin dyan, risk of incorrect rejection. Alright? Next, so yung opposite naman yan, yung sample, pag risk of incorrect acceptance, yung conclusion natin from the sample is deposit liability is correct, pero class, pag tinest pala natin yung buong population, yung dapat na naging conclusion natin, deposit liability is misstated. Okay? So opposite sila. Got it? Ang tawag natin dyan, sampling risk. Yung apat na yan. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? Now, again, goal natin, i-reduce natin yung sampling risk to an acceptably low level. Alright, now, dito naman tayo kasi mag-focus. Sir, ano ibig sabihin ng sacrificed na yan? Dito tayo class, no? Focus ka muna dito. So, dito sa sample, ang conclusion natin is mataas yung control risk. Therefore, class, tama, pag mataas yung control risk, para magbalanse yung audit risk formula natin, ibababa natin yung detection risk. Tama lang? Pag bababa yung detection risk natin, mas dadamihan natin yung substantive testing. Does that make sense? Okay. So, for this one class, mali yung naging action natin. Kasi instead of dapat mataas yung detection risk, kasi dapat ang masunod mo is population, and since mataas yung control risk mo sa sample, binaba yung detection risk. Mas mataas yung substantive testing natin. Okay? Na unnecessary. Dapat mababa yan eh. Okay? Therefore, class, yung masasacrifice natin dito is the efficiency of the audit. Actually, in this case, meron tayong under-reliance. Okay? Under-reliance. Bakit sir under-reliance? Kasi hindi tayo nag-rely sa internal controls. Dapat nag-rely tayo kasi kapag population, mababa lang dapat yung control risk. Meron tayong under-reliance, pero ang masasacrifice yan is yung efficiency ng audit natin. Because magpe-perform tayo ng substantive procedures na mas marami na hindi naman dapat. Okay? Ibig sabihin dyan. In the same way, na kapag yung deposit liability, ang conclusion natin is misstated, mas marami tayong hahanapin ng evidence. So, tataasan natin yung substantive testing para mas mag-gather pa tayo ng evidence. Therefore, again, masasacrifice natin is the efficiency of the audit. Okay, next. Dito naman tayo. Since yung control risk natin is mababa, ang magiging action natin is yung detection risk, itataas natin. Tama? Pag itataas mo yung detection risk, yung substantive testing natin, pwede nating mas konti lang. Okay? In this case, binabaan mo yung substantive testing pero dapat mataas yan kasi sa population, mataas yung control risk. Mali yung conclusion natin kasi sample lang ititest natin. In this case, mas mababa yung substantive testing, mas konti yung evidence, therefore, maapektuhan yan is the effectiveness of the audit. Okay? Effectiveness of the audit. It means, pag sinabi mo effectiveness, baka mali yung opinion na mabigay natin on the financial statements. Okay? So again, in audit, dapat both efficient and effective. No? So dito, effectiveness yung maapektuhan sa atin. For this one, ang conclusion natin is deposit liability is correct. Okay? So may effect sa opinion. Okay? Baka sabihin natin, ay, tama yung FS ni client, pero dapat hindi pala. Ayun. Maapektuhan niya yung opinion natin or the effectiveness of the audit. Got it? Okay. Now, again, ulit-ulitin ko, goal natin is to reduce the sampling risk to an acceptably low level. And, sir, paano natin gagawin yun? So again, yung to reduce sampling risk, SR na lang, to an acceptably low level, meron tayong 3 ways on how to do that. Number 1 is we use the proper sample selection method. Okay? Number 2, we use the appropriate sample size. And number 3, we correctly project our results to the population or projection. Okay? So how do we reduce sampling risk? By using the appropriate sample selection method, using the appropriate sample size, and correct projection. Iisa-isahin natin yung class, no? Now, erase ko na to. So make sure nakapin nyo to class. So ang good thing naman class sa audit sampling, actually madadali lang yung mga tanong dyan. Basta alam mo yung terms, medyo naiintindihan mo yung ibig sabihin, mga terms na yan, kahit medyo technical, usually definition lang yung tanong sa'yo dyan, okay? Sige. So, isa-isahin natin yung ways to reduce sampling risk. Okay? Start muna tayo with the use of appropriate sample selection method. Alright. So, erase ko muna. So, lagay natin dito class. Sample selection methods. Meron tayong 8. Okay, 8 methods. Sample selection methods. We have 8. Number 1 is random sampling. Ito class yung pinaka-common na ginagamit in practice. Okay, the most common technique is random sampling. So basically, for random sampling, we use random numbers. Random numbers, and lahat ng items in the population, meron silang equal chances of getting selected. Okay? Equal chances of getting selected. So ganito yung class, illustrate ko sa inyo. For example, si Metrobank, no? Quezon City branch, yung client natin. Mag-field work tayo, no? Puntahan natin si client sa branch. And then mag-request tayo kay client na, okay, since ang itetest natin ngayon is withdrawals, for example, request tayo kay client na, okay, pwedeng pahingin ng database ng withdrawals from January 1 to December 31. Okay, hingi tayo kay client. Ngayon, ang gagawin ni client, i-extract niya sa system niya. Okay, lahat ng withdrawals from January 1 to December 31. Siguro, nandun yung amount, nandun yung date, nandun yung account number, etc. Okay, so pag na-generate na yun ni client, bibigay sa atin yun. Usually in Excel form. Excel, okay? Ang gagawin natin, so bibigay sa atin Excel, ayusin muna natin, no? Maglalagay tayo ng numbers, okay? Siyempre, for example, 1,000 lahat ng withdrawals. 1,000 transactions. Lagay tayo, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, hanggang 1,000. Okay? Magka-assign tayo ng ganyan. And then class, so ayan, nasa natin. Okay? Ito na yung database natin na may corresponding numbers. Usually, yung mga audit firms, may mga software yan. Okay? Kanya-kanyang tools yan. No? Actually, sa SGB, if I'm not mistaken, ang pangalan ng software doon is EY Random. Okay? Si EY Random, ang gagawin mo dyan, i-input mo doon, okay, sa software, yung nature ng business ni client. Okay? Pwedeng manufacturing, pwedeng mining, or tech, etc. Lagay mo yung materiality level, okay? Lagay mo yung number of transactions, and then yung software na yung bahala, siya na yung pipili, o siya yung magpo-produce ng random numbers. Tama? So kanina, in-assign natin yung number, tama? And then yung software natin, magpo-produce ng random numbers, yun yung pipiliin natin dito. Okay? Ang tawag natin doon is random sampling. And I believe na yung random sampling, yan talaga yung ginagamit in practice. Okay? So siguro mga 95% of the time, random sampling yung ginagamit. Anyway, so that's random sampling. Gagamit tayo ng random number generator and equal chances of getting selected. Yung other methods, syempre, for board exam purposes, dapat familiar pa rin tayo. Pero expect class na pag nag-work ka na in audit firm, random selection or random sampling yung gagamitin mo. Number 2, systematic sampling. Sir, ano naman yung systematic sampling? Basically, class, gagamit tayo ng sampling interval. Okay? For example, si client natin meron siyang 1,000 transactions. Ito yung population, tama? And then, ginamit natin yung random yung software natin, sabi doon, oy, sige, test mo 100 transactions. So yung sample natin is 100 transactions. Pag sinabi mo sampling interval, it's just population over sample. Okay? So 1,000 divided by 100, 10 yung magiging sampling interval natin. Ganito yung class. So di ba kanina may Excel tayo, naglagay tayo ng number. So una natin pipiliin, for example, number 5. Okay? So number 5 na withdrawal. Plus 10 ka ng plus 10. Okay? So plus 10, 15. Okay, number 15, kunin natin yan, yung sample natin. 25, okay, i-test natin yung 25, 35, 45, 55, and so on and so forth until ma-reach mo yung 100 items na sample size. Ang tawag natin doon class is systematic sampling. Again, pag systematic sampling, sampling interval tayo. Yun yung gagamitin natin. Actually, usually class pag systematic sampling, yung una mong pili, random yan. For example, di ba, 1 to 1,000. So, example, napili mo 67, okay? Doon ka magpa plus 10, plus 10, plus 10, plus 10, and so on and so forth hanggang makuha mo yung 100 items for the sample. Okay? Let's go to stratified sampling. That's number 3. Again, meron tayong 8 na. Stratified sampling. So, ano naman yan? Basically, it is a grouping of items of similar characteristics. Okay? Similar size or characteristics. Yung term na ginagamit sa grouping of items is stratification. Okay? And yung stratification class, usually applicable yan sa, siguro ang pinakamalapit is yung accounts receivable. Okay? Ang gagawin mo dyan, for example, si client, no? Well, pag bangko, wala namang AR yan, no? For example, manufacturing yung client natin. Ang gagawin ko dyan class, AR, aging, no? AR aging, ika-categorize natin yan. Okay? So for example, meron si client natin, meron siyang 100 customers. Okay? So 100 customers, let's say 200 customers pala. Okay? 100 customers ni client, yung uncollectible niya or past due niya is 0 to 30 days. Okay? And then, let's say 50 customers between 31 to 60 days. And then 30 customers naman ni client between 61 to 90. Ilan na yan? 180. So, and then yung 20, more than 90 days past due. Okay? So, ang tawag natin dito class is stratification. Okay? So, i-group muna natin yung items of similar characteristics. So, may 100 customers na 0 to 30. 50, 31 to 60, 30, and 20. And then class, after natin i-stratify, okay, dyan tayo pipili ng random numbers, okay? So, pili tayo dito ng, so let's say, ang kukunin natin is, di ba, 200 yung population, tama? Let's say, 20 lang dyan yung itetest natin. So, 4 yan. So, ibig sabihin, tigpa 5 yung kukunin natin. 5, 5, 5, 5. Randomly natin pipiliin yan. Okay? So, 5 yung pipiliin natin dito. Another 5 here. 5 and 5. Okay, ulitin ko. Parang random sampling lang din siya. Pero in this case, i-stratify mo muna according to their characteristics and then saka ka pumili ng sample mo randomly. Okay, ang tawag natin dyan is stratified sampling. Number 4, value weighted. Okay, sampling. Ang ibang tawag dito class is PPS or probability proportional to size sampling. Okay, probability proportional to size or monetary unit sampling. So magkakamukha lang ibig sabihin yan. Value weighted, PPS, and monetary unit sampling. So ano ibig sabihin yan? Ibig sabihin lang yung class, the higher the amount, or the higher the value, okay, the higher the amount, the higher the chances of getting selected. Okay? Ganun lang ibig sabihin yan. So, in comparison dito sa random sampling, di ba dito class equal chances, o kahit anong amounts yan, per item, kakamukha lang kayo ng chance na mapili. Pag naman value weighted, mas mataas yung amount, mas mataas yung probability na mapili. For example class, kumuha tayo ng mga deposits, okay? Deposit slips. Nakita natin doon yung deposit slip number 30. Sa population natin, ang amount niya is 1 million. Okay? Yung deposit slip number 50, amount niya is 100,000. So 1 million versus 100,000, kapag random sampling yan, equal chance na mapili yung dalawa na yan. Pag value weighted, since mas mataas yung amount ni 30 to 50 ng 10 times, mas mataas yung chance na mapili si item number 30 ng 10 times. Okay? Value weighted sampling. Number 5. Haphazard sampling. Sir, what do you mean by haphazard sampling? Okay, so class, when you say haphazard sampling, it does not follow any mathematical or structural approach or structure approach. Okay? For example, class, ang sabi lang ni audit team. Okay? O sige, yung gawin nating samples, all deposits except deposit during the 15th and 30th of the month. Okay? So wala kang mathematical or structural approach. Basta sinabi mo lang, sige, piliin natin sa samples lahat ng deposit except 15th or 30th. Or, all deposits happened between, let's say, 1 to 3 p.m. Okay? So tawag natin dyan is haphazard sampling. Okay? Usually, hindi mo ginagawa in practice yan. So again, FYI na lang, syempre for board exam purposes. But you call it haphazard sampling. Again, it does not follow any mathematical or structural approach. Number 6, discovery sampling. Plus, yung discovery sampling, ginagamit natin yan when the auditor believes the deviation is 0. Okay? When the auditor believes that the deviation is 0. Ganito yan, class. For example, si client natin is nagbebenta ng Louis Vuitton bags. Okay, Louis Vuitton. And then let's say si client, meron siyang 200 na sales, Louis Vuitton sales for the year. For example lang. And then, so syempre, since konti lang naman yung high-valued items, ina-expect ni auditor na wala na siguro deviation from internal control yan. Okay? But if makakita si auditor ng isang deviation, isa lang, okay? 100% complete review. Okay? If the auditor finds an exception. If the auditor finds an exception. Okay? So, ganun siya. Again, basta isa lang makita ang exception or deviation ni auditor, complete review gagawin niya. Tawag dyan, discovery sampling, and usually applicable yan sa mga high-valued items. Okay? Number 7, last 2. Block selection. Block selection class, this is the least desirable. Okay? Hindi yan ginagamit talaga. Okay? Least desirable. Bakit, sir? Kasi may potential yan na maging bias. Okay? For example, sige, block. Ibig sabihin, by block, okay? Or in bulk yung papili mo na sample. Okay? For example, sige, all deposits for the month of January, yan yung gagamitin nating sample. January lang. Okay? Hindi mo na-consider yung nangyari from Feb to December. Okay? Kaya possible na may bias ka kapag block selection yung gagamitin. Again, least desirable yan. FYI na lang yan, no? Pero hindi yung ginagamit talaga in practice. Number 8, last one, stop or go sampling. Okay? So this one naman, ginagamit ni auditor yan if the auditor expects few errors in the population. Okay? So paano mag-work yung stop or go sampling? So ganito yung class. Wala ka talagang definite sample size. Okay? Unlike yung iba na alam mo kailan yung sample size. Pag stop or go, kaya siya tinawag na stop or go, test ka ng test muna. Okay? So, number 1, ito yung first sample, test ko muna to. Okay? Second sample. Third sample. Okay? Until makakuha na ako ng sufficient evidence, dun lang ako mag-stop. Pag may sufficient evidence ka na, stop ka na. Kaya, stop or go. Until, hanggang wala pa akong sufficient evidence, test lang ako ng test. Got it? Okay. So, once okay na, meron na akong sufficient evidence, okay na, stop na ako dun. Kaya, stop or go selection or stop or go sampling. Okay? So, yun yung 8 sample selection methods natin. Very important yan because yun yung first way to reduce sampling risk. Okay? Pero take note class ha, ito talagang ginagamit dyan. Random sampling. Sige. Let's go to our handouts. Mamaya na yung sample size and projection para hindi kayo malito. No? Doon muna tayo sa handouts natin. Question number 1. Get your handouts. Question number 1. This involves the application of the procedures to less than 100%. Okay? Of the items within an account balance or class of transactions. This enables the auditor to obtain and evaluate audit evidence about some characteristics of the selected items in order to form an opinion about the characteristics of all the items supporting an account balance. Actually, ito yung complete definition of audit sampling, letter C for number 1. Population as defined in PSA 530. Class, ano nga ba yung population? 100% of the transactions. Means that the entire set of data from which a sample is selected and about which the auditor wishes to draw conclusions. It is important for the auditor to ensure that the population is appropriate, yes, complete, yes, letter C for number 2. Number 3, PSA 530 identifies two general approaches to audit sampling. Sinulat ko kanina yan. Okay, dito. Na-erase ko lang. But yung two approaches natin, statistical and non-statistical. Letter B. What's the difference? Statistical is objective. Okay, may mathematical or measurable siya. While non-statistical is subjective based on professional judgment. Letter B for number 3. Number 4, an advantage of statistical over non-statistical is that statistical sampling, answer natin dito is letter A, enables auditors to objectively measure. So again, pag statistical, objective yan. The reliability of their sample results. Let's take a look at the other choices. B permits the use of smaller sample size. Nope. Is compatible with a wider variety of sample selection methods. More statistical sampling yun, hindi non-statistical. Okay? Sorry. Letter C is compatible with a wider variety of sample selection methods than is non-statistical sampling. Not necessarily. Okay? So mas pwedeng equal yung, may mga methods, actually dito class, no? FYI, yung discovery sampling and stop or go, attribute sampling yan, okay? And the others, pwede mo sabihin na variable sampling, okay? Letter C is compatible with a wider variety of sample selection methods than non-statistical sampling, not necessarily. Okay, so pwedeng may mga methods na non-statistical, mas marami sa statistical. Anyway, letter D allows auditors to inject their subjective judgment. Pag subjective, non-statistical yun. So best answer dito class is letter A, okay? Enables auditors to objectively measure, kaya statistical sampling. Number 5, of the following statements, which one best differentiates statistical sampling from non-statistical? A din yung sagot dito. Statistical sampling is a mathematical approach to inference, whereas non-statistical sampling is subjective, okay? Let's read the other choices. B, non-statistical sampling has greater applicability. Nope, statistical sampling yan. C, non-statistical sampling is more subjective. Tama yan, but produces greater consistency. False. D, non-statistical sampling has greater applicability. False. Letter A yung sagot natin for number 5. Number 6, there are many kinds of statistical estimates that an auditor may find useful. But basically, every statistical estimate in auditing is of either a quantity or of an error rate. The statistical terms that roughly correspond to quantities or occurrence rate are, so again, audit sampling applies to TOC and substantive testing, okay? Pag quantities or numerical quantities, yun yung amounts natin, tama? Variable sampling yun, substantive testing. Pag occurrence rate or deviation rate, yun naman yung attribute sampling or for TOC, okay? Answer natin for number 6 is BOY, variables and attributes. Which of the following sample selection methods is most useful to auditors when testing for internal control? Pag internal control, ang tawag natin, attribute sampling, BOY. Number 8, which of the following sampling plans would be designed to estimate a numerical measurement or amount? That's for substantive testing, dog variables sampling. Number 9, a sample in which every possible combination of items has a chance of constituting the sample or equal chances of getting selected, random sample, BOY. Number 10, the process which requires the calculation of an interval. Saan yun? Ito, systematic sampling. Okay? Sa example natin, every 10th item, yun yung pipili natin. Letter B, systematic selection. Okay, let's go to number 11. If certain forms are not consecutively numbered, okay, not consecutively numbered, so hindi siya na 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. Let's say alphanumeric, okay, combination ng letters and numbers, yung coding ni client. Gagawin natin dyan. A, selection of a random sample is not possible. Possible pa rin, kasi class, ang gagawin mo dyan, okay, binigyan ka ni client. Iba yung coding niya, no? Hindi numerical. Well, ang gawin mo as auditor, ikaw yung mag-assign ng number. Okay? Binigay sa akin ni client, nasa Excel, ako maglalagay ng 1 to 1,000. Got it? Okay. So, kaya yung A na yan, mali yan. Kasi pag may 1 to 1,000 ka na, pwede ka nang pumili ng random numbers. Okay? So, mali yung A. Systematic sampling may be appropriate. Correct. Since meron na akong 1,000 transactions, alam ko kung ilang sample yung pipiliin ko, makakukompute ko yung sampling interval, pwede ko na i-applyan kahit, ayan, dito sa problem na to. Okay? So, for number 11, it's boy. Okay? Tingnan natin yung C. Stratified sampling should be used. Should be. Mali yan. Random number tables cannot be used. Pwede pa rin. Pwede ka mag-random number dyan. Boy for number 11. Number 12. A method of sampling in which all items in the population are divided into 2 or more subpopulations. Okay? Ang tawag natin dyan, stratification. Okay? Or yung subpopulation na yan, ang tawag natin, strata. Okay? Letter B, stratified sampling. Number 13, what is the primary objective of using stratification as a sampling method? Actually, sagot dito class is letter C, to decrease the effect of variance. Ganito yan. Dito class AR natin, ang ginawa nating class, meron tayong, tama ba, 200 customers eh. Okay? Ngayon, tingnan mo dito, 100 customers, karamihan dyan, kalahati ng 200, nasa 0 to 30 days past due. Okay? Ngayon, pag hindi natin i-stratify yan, mas mataas yung chance na marami ka mapili dito sa 100. Kasi yun yung majority or karamihan 100 out of 200 nasa 0 to 30 days. Pero since hinihiwalay natin siya, and then pumili tayo ng tig-5, so alam natin na hindi tayo magiging bias dito sa 0 to 30 days. Okay, ang tawag doon, reduce the effect of variance in the total population, letter C for number 13. Number 14, in which sampling method is the probability of selection item proportional to the size? Value-weighted sampling, letter B, boy. Number 15, in comparison with classical variable sampling, which of the following is an advantage of value-weighted? Okay? Actually, kasi ang advantage yan is letter A. Value-weighted sampling automatically results in a stratified sample. Bakit, sir? Kasi anong nangyari dyan, class? In-stratify mo na, group mo na automatically. Bakit? Kasi yung mga high-valued amounts or transactions, okay, the higher the amount, mas mataas yung chance of getting selected. Nag-group mo na siya. Mas important sa atin, yung mas mataas yung amounts, therefore, in effect, na-stratify mo na siya. Okay? So again, ang maganda sa value-weighted, automatically, na-stratify mo na yung items in the population. Letter A. Number 16, if the auditor is concerned that a population may contain exceptions, the determination of a sample size sufficient to include at least one exception. Pag may one exception ka, okay, pag may nakita ka one exception, complete review mo yan, discovery sampling for number 16. Okay? 16 is A. Number 17, an auditor samples cash disbursement records for significant errors of 500 pesos or more. Upon finding one error, these records are scheduled for complete review. Okay, ang tawag natin dyan, discovery sample letter B. Okay, isa lang, makita mong error, review mo lahat. I think yung example natin earlier dito, yung sale ng Louis Vuitton bags. Okay, yun siya. Number 18, when the auditor goes through a population and select items for the sample without regard to their size, source, or other distinguishing characteristics, okay, it does not follow any mathematical or structural approach, haphazard sampling, letter C. Number 19, which of the following statistical selection technique is least desirable? Block selection, okay? Example natin, lahat ng sa January, yun yung gawin natin sample. Well, prone to bias yan, okay? So, letter C, block selection. Number 20, the possibility that the auditor's conclusion based on the sample may be different from the conclusion reached if the entire population were subjected to the same procedure, sampling risk, letter C. Which of the following best illustrates the concept of sampling risk? Okay. So, class, basta related sa sample selection method and sample size, okay, yung dalawa na yan, tawag mo doon is sampling risk. Basta hindi related dyan, ang tawag natin is non-sampling risk. Okay? So number 21, letter A yung sampling risk dyan. A randomly chosen sample may not be representative of the population. Sampling risk yan. Yung B, C, and D, examples ito ng non-sampling risk. Let's read. B, an auditor may select audit procedures that are not appropriate. So inappropriate audit procedures, non-sampling risk yan. Auditor may fail to recognize errors, non-sampling risk. The documents related to the sample may not be available, non-sampling risk. Letter A for number 21. 22, one of the ways to reduce sampling risk. Okay? Letter A yung sagot natin. Use an appropriate method of selecting sample items, sample selection method, from the population. Again, ito yung 3 ways para ma-reduce yung sampling risk. A yan. Yung B and C, ways to reduce non-sampling risk yan. Okay? Carefully design the audit procedures, provide proper supervision instruction. Yung letter D, mali yan. Use variables rather than attributes, mali yan. Number 22, it's letter A. Okay. 23, one of the causes of non-sampling error or non-sampling risk is A, failure to draw a random sample, failure to draw a representative sample. Related to sample yan, so yung A and B sampling risk yan. Letter C yung sagot dito, the use of inappropriate or ineffective audit procedures. Okay, for number 23, it's letter C. Number 24, in assessing sampling risk, alpha risk relates to efficiency of the audit. Letter A. Okay, alpha risk, efficiency. Number 25, in performing substantive tests, the auditor is concerned with 2 risks of errors, the alpha error or alpha risk and the beta error or beta risk. Letter A, the alpha error is of greater concern to the auditor than the beta error. B, the beta error is of greater concern. C, the beta error and the alpha error are of equal importance. Actually, class, sagot dito is letter B or boy. The beta error is of greater concern to the alpha error. So, bakit ganun? Kasi, class, yung beta error, maapektuhan niya yung efficiency of the audit. Yung beta error, maapektuhan niya yung effectiveness of the audit. And we know yung effectiveness, meron siyang effects opinion natin sa FS. While yung alpha error or alpha risk, efficiency naman. Okay, baka mas maging inefficient yung audit natin. Ano mas important, effectiveness or efficiency? Effectiveness. Okay, kasi ang ultimate objective natin in audit is to provide an opinion. Okay? Therefore, mas important sa atin yung opinion than the efficiency of the audit. Got it? Answer here is, boy, the beta error, beta risk is of greater concern than the alpha error or alpha risk. Number 26, the risk of incorrect acceptance. Nasaan yan? Risk of incorrect acceptance, this one. And the likelihood of assessing control is too low, relate to the effectiveness of the audit, letter B or boy. 27, while performing test of details. Last tama ba yung test of details, substantive testing yun? Okay, so dito tayo mag-focus. Okay, the auditor determined that the sample results supported the conclusion that the recorded account balance was materially misstated. So sa sample natin, misstated. Ito. Okay? In fact, not materially misstated sa population. Okay? So nandito tayo sa risk of incorrect rejection. Pag risk of incorrect rejection, yung sample natin misstated, pero sa population, hindi pala, correct pala. So letter A for 27. Actually, yung CND dito, pwede mo nang i-cross out yan. Kasi class, ang tiyatawag dito is substantive testing. Yung CND, TOC yan. So mali na yan. A tayo for number 27. Number 28, as a result of TOC, an auditor assessed control risk too low. Saan yun? Ito, too low. And decrease substantive testing. Too low, ito, dinecrease natin yung substantive testing. Okay? This assessment occurred because the true deviation rate in the population, sa population natin, mataas dapat yung control risk. Sa sample, mababa. Answer is dog. More than the deviation rate in the auditor's sample. Mas mataas yung control risk sa population than the sample. Dog for number 28. Number 29, the likelihood of assessing control is too high. Ito. Is the risk that the sample selected to test controls, A yung sagot natin, does not support the auditor's planned assessed level of control risk when the true operating effectiveness of internal control justifies such assessment. Ibig sabihin, class, yung control risk daw natin sa sample, okay, ang conclusion natin is mataas. Okay? Pero in reality, kapag population, dapat mababa yung control risk natin. Letter A for number 29. Alright? Ayan. So, yung 30 onwards, actually about sample size na yan and projection. So before we discuss this, let's have a short break.